Hey, what's up guys? LevelUp here at OnPointGaming's OnPointTactical. Today we're going to be looking at a full review of the M416 assault rifle in Battlefield 4. Now I did a first impression style review of the gun, but I have not done a full review educated by statistics, not just how the gun feels while I'm operating it. And I gotta say that this weapon's stats kind of back its performance nearly perfectly. In fact, whenever you look at the stats, you go, oh, that makes sense, that's really how it kind of feels. So if you go to Simthic.com, which is where I get all of my weapon stats for my videos, you'll see that this gun does a maximum damage of 25 and a minimum damage of 18. Now this damage drop-off starts at 8 meters and ends at 55 meters, where it does its 18 damage. This is sort of interesting because that means that it almost doubles the drop-off range of the M16A4 that has a much longer barrel, which is kind of contradictory to reality. Its fire rate is 750 rounds per minute, just like it was in Battlefield 3, and its muzzle velocity, like Battlefield 3 also, is 600 meters per second, with a bullet drop at 15 meters for every second that it's in the air, which honestly, a second is longer than you might think. The magazine size is 30 plus 1 rounds if you haven't picked that up already. The reload times are 2.4 seconds empty and 1.85 seconds on a short reload. These are almost exactly what I guessed the reload times were initially, which to me is like just kind of funny because that means that I was actually really close in my initial results. The weapon's up recoil is 0.32 and its left recoil is 0.1. Its right pull is 0.3. This gun kicks hardly at all. If you put a muzzle brake on there and a stubby foregrip, you will have an excellently performing weapon that is both easy to control, but can also actually kind of reach out and touch somebody with the muzzle brake, stubby, or potato grip combination. These grips and muzzle brakes, and also it kind of works the same way with the compensator. They kind of complement each other. I would almost say that this is the new foregrip and heavy barrel, kind of like Battlefield 3, but I know that the versatility of it is not near as much as the foregrip heavy barrel combination was in Battlefield 3. It can take up to 6 shots to kill a guy, but again, that happens at 42 meters. So honestly, I would say that would be within the average engagement distance zone in the Battlefield 4 game, which means that most of your engagements are going to be a 5-shot kill, assuming that you do not shoot them in the face, and they are not running the squad ballistic vest perk. The weapon's accuracy is 0.2, it's spread, but for all intents and purposes that means accuracy. The weapon's range is much affected by that statistic, and on this gun, it totally backs up being effective. Now I am going to apologize again for ignorant ammo guys, except that's not really my fault. Now I would like to point out that the camo I'm running is the Urban Hexagon camo, because I'm sure that several of you are sitting there going, dang, that camo actually looks really good with the LevelUp logo on the side of the gun. Sorry, you can't have that one. If I see one of those logos used on the game, I'm probably going to yell at somebody, because even though it is kind of similar to level caps, honestly, if you can come up with a better orientation for an L and a U within a square that's actually big enough to see, be my guest. But that's pretty much the only one. Also, my white M9 kind of looks pretty good. But this gun just performs so similarly to what it did in Battlefield 3 that I feel right at home using this gun. A lot of the other guns kind of switch up the gameplay style quite significantly from the Battlefield 3 version of the game. This one doesn't feel all that different. It feels different, but not to the point where you're like, dang it, they changed this gun so much across the two games. Most of the time I'm like, oh, this just feels so familiar. I can get right into a rhythm and start killing things. Now, I will be the first to admit that I actually have not been playing all that well recently, and I think that that is because Battlefield 4 is a new game, but it's not a new game, which means it is at that awkward stage where players that have been playing it, have been dedicating themselves to playing it, kind of like I am, have sort of figured out their tactics, But then all of a sudden the guys that are also picking up their discs because they've been watching it on YouTube and decided that they need to buy it, they don't know what they're doing, and they sort of disrupt the gameplay. So it's really chaotic, and honestly, you never really know which direction your opponents are coming from. So there's a lot of dying involved in playing the game right now, just because it's at that really awkward stage that every first-person shooter goes through, and Battlefield 4 is no exception. So I have not been able to use the M416 to its full potential, even though this gun does dish out a ton of damage in a very short time period if used properly. There's instances like that where I've been tampering with my controller sensitivity and I simply can't hit my enemies. It's kind of embarrassing, but it also means that having a gun that is easy to control like the 416 is a good thing to get yourself into a new controller feel. So I was able to perform better than I have been with this gun. I've been using the M4, that's kind of my baby, I guess, in this game. I have over 1,000 kills with it already, which might sound like a lot to some of you, but I mean, I have like 50-something hours in the game, which a buddy of mine has far more, and we're pretty close in ranks just because my score per minute's considerably higher. But the 416, I think, is to blame for a lot of games going south. I know that sounds really bad because this is a really good gun and I really like it, but that is also the exact reason why some of the gameplay is going south. I think that, wow, this will probably wind up being the tryhard gun. I feel like this and the Ace 52 are going to wind up being the tryhard guns, which means that I'm not exactly happy to have it in my hands because I can tell already it's so easy to use and so powerful. And until they either patch the ACR and make it more usable, or simply update the burst guns and give them a little less recoil, this gun is just going to be the best, and there's not a whole lot that anybody can do about it besides sit there and get slaughtered by the same gun repeatedly. So, also, I don't know what was up with that dude. Anyway. I'm LevelUp here at OnPointGaming's OnPointTactical. This has been my full review of the M416 with stats this time, which is a fantastic thing. I will be doing a PlayStation 4 unboxing review. Have a good one, and I will see you guys on the battlefield.